Hey, it's Mike over at fishyourassoff.com, and today what we're doing is teaching you how to catch snook with live mullet. So we're snook fishing with live mullet, and I would say that the mullet is probably the best bait there is for a snook. That's why every lure that looks like a mullet catches snook. They're great at that. I mean, even look at the way they're evolved. You know, they have a big underbite. You know, their bottom jaw sticks out more than their top jaw, and that's made for hitting things that are above you. You know, you look at like a redfish, it's the opposite. You know, they got an overbite because they're used to eating things below them. So everything about a snook tells you that they like to hit things that are up on top of the water. Their big bucket mouth, you know, that they have. They've evolved to eat things like mullet. So we're just going to go ahead and show you some of the different ways to hook up the mullet and, just where to pitch them and how to do it. So this is the way that I fish with my mullet 90% of the time. I hook them back in the back of them towards their tail, because when you do that, now I only do this in shallow water, but that's usually where I'm fishing, is shallow water. When I say shallow, I mean 3 feet deep for snook. Okay, so that if you hook a mullet like that, that mullet's gonna stay right on top of the water. The whole time it's just gonna try to swim away from you. You got the pole, it's gonna swim against you, and it's gonna be at the very top of the water column. And that is so great for just seeing these snook come up and just pound that thing. So you do it like that. Now, mullet in general are going to stay in the upper part of the water column anyways, on the surface or that first foot or so, because that's just how they are. You know, something like a pinfish is going to head straight down to the bottom, but a mullet is going to stay on top. Now, this is a much more natural presentation if you hook them right in the nose, you know, come right up through like this. It's a much more natural presentation, but they can get away from the snook a lot better, I found, when you hook them like this. So I like hooking them in the back because it amazes me that the thing has a hook in it, for crying out loud, and the snook, boom, miss, boom, miss, boom, miss. Man, how do you miss that? It's your job to eat this thing. Anyways, if you have it hooked like that, they get them more often than they do when you have them just hooked a little bit in the lips, because this is actually going through their muscle, which slows down their muscle, of course. And I fish most of the time with a bobber, because the bobber, not for any other reason, not to keep the mullet up, but just because the bobber actually slows the mullet down even a little more. So this way gives you more hookups than this way. This way gives you more hookups than this way. So it just slows them down that little bit more, so they're just not as adept at getting away from the snook, I guess is what my point is. So I'll use a bobber whenever I can get away with it, especially if I'm fishing around mangroves or something, because, you know, they'll try to go into the roots, and that way you can really tell, because you're like, well, I have about 24 inches a leader or 36 inches a leader. So I know approximately where that mullet is, even though I can't see him. Oh, it looks like he's getting too close to the roots. So the bobber, the direction the bobber is pointing, will tell you, which way, where your mullet is. Just easier to keep your mullet from getting tangled up. Now, some people like to hook them in the belly, and that'll keep them on the top part of the water column too. I just don't like it. It seems like when you cast them, a lot of times your hook will tear through, and that now you just killed that mullet and you didn't even catch anything. So I really don't like doing the belly one, but a lot of people do. So whatever works for you, but that's going to keep them on top as well. Now this bottom one right here, this is called a Jupiter rig. If you're fishing an inlet or something like that, this is a great one. You nose hook them, you cast them up current, and you just kind of reel in your slack, and the current will just kind of roll your bait down, down with the current, or incoming, outgoing, whatever the current is. So this is a Jupiter rig. So you have, your mullet here. He's got his nose hook. Then you got your leader. I don't know. Say it's 30 inches, 36 inches, and then you have your barrel swivel, and then you have whatever weight you need to keep it on the bottom. And let's just say it's 3 ounces. That's what it takes. And then you have another barrel swivel, and this egg sinker that you have in there, you can go back and forth. And this is a great way for those sandy inlets, like Jupiter Inlet. I think that's why it's called the Jupiter rig, because those guys, that's where I grew up. So that's really what they use for those current situations, to keep it on the bottom and just roll it there, because there's not a lot of snags here. If you're in one of those real rocky inlets, this probably isn't going to work as well, because it'll probably get snagged up every time. You might just want a knocker rig where you just have just a straight line with your egg sinker right there and just throw it out, because you got to get it to the bottom either way. That's where the Snook are going to be. But yeah, that's a Jupiter rig, so maybe try that if you're in one of those inlets next time. Live mullet. Now, so the inlets, you're going to use something like that. Docks. Well, like I said, I'm using something like this or like this in the docks. Oyster bars, same deal. Mangroves, I definitely use my bobber. Mud flat cuts, Tidal Creek's grass flats. Well, the grass flats, this way is usually working because I'm drifting with it, and you don't want that fish swimming backwards. If it's swimming against the way you're drifting, it's an unnatural presentation. You're dragging your mullet backwards. So if I'm drifting, I'm not going to be using that. I'm going to be using this. But if I'm anchored, if I'm stopped, whether I'm in my kayak or john boat or whatever, I'm almost always going to use this. But if I'm drifting, I'm going to use this one. That's the presentation. You want to have the nose hook that you're using. But yeah, that's probably the best bait there is. They love ladyfish. The big ones love ladyfish, pinfish, and any white bait. But God, it's hard to beat a mullet. They're super tough, so they last a long time. They'll stay alive. Yeah, snook fishing with live mullet is the way to maximize, I think, catching snook, for sure. You can learn more of this right on our website. Just go to www.fishyourassoff.com. We have all kinds of how-to videos and articles, all there, all about catching inshore fish. But I think that's it for today. So until next time, we'll see you then. All right, bye-bye.